Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! I'm Sean.
I'm Cody.
And we're from Sewing and Vacuum Warehouse in Houston, and we're kind of doing this video late.
A little bit late.
Just a little bit late.
Yeah.
And what we mean by that is we have so much, like, crazy good Halloween fabric.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. I'm so sad.
Like kids, like really cute kid stuff, and then some like darker kind of goth stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're
We got
like,
it all.
if you're like a black fingernail polish wearing goth, we got you some fabric, and yeah. So what we're gonna do today is these things. Here, you can hold one. That's more. That's a better size for you. This is a better size for you. So just so you know, we're going to be doing trick-or-treat bags. Now, they look an awful lot like clutches. Or, I mean, what do we call these? Totes.
Oh, yeah.
Totes. They look an awful lot like totes. But we're going to size the pattern down so it works great. And, yeah, let's get to sewing. All right. So these are the bags. These are two different sizes. So this is the smaller, this is the larger. Now, when I originally made this is the first pattern I drafted. I thought this would be an appropriate size for a trick-or-treater. But then, this is really big. This is really big. So it looks more like a mom tote or just a Halloween tote. The challenge that I did not really live up to on this one was the people I'm making my bags for are a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. And that is a lot of candy. It's a lot of candy, like too much candy. This one, I then drafted the pattern down and came up with this one. Now, both of these bags are cut from a yard of fabric. And what I mean is you're going to have half a yard of one color and half a yard of the other. And now this is half a yard of 44 inches quilting cotton. All right. So now let's show how these do. Because of that, these are, the way we're doing them, are completely reversible. So if you want to have this on the outside, fantastic. Oh, no. The tote there, I also made them this way. So if this were the inside and chocolate bar melted or something, it was, you know, I really, you know, hide stuff in it. But this bag is made from a yard of fabric, 2 half pieces, and this one is the same way. They're both reversible. Now on these bags here are for my friend's daughter Vita. I know that Consuelo and Vita, their family really cherishes their Mexican heritage. So I wanted to go with something that was Dias de los Muertos kind of feel, and
She's a princess.
she's a princess,
or
right?
A fairy. What is she?
She's going to be a princess
Oh.
riding a unicorn.
That's so cute.
So we didn't want to go.
Princess riding a unicorn.
know,
I love
It's
it.
pretty amazing. So if you look, you've got these great princess colors in here, but then you got the little skulls. So
Yeah.
we kind of got there. We're going to take these, put these aside. I'm going to throw those your way. And we have got the fabric all cut out. Now, I went ahead, let me put this aside. I went ahead and prepped the 2 sizes so that you could see, but we're actually going to cut this down and we're going to be doing 2 of the smaller bags. So this one here is 16 by 16. This one here is 20 by 20. I went ahead and stabilized the back of them with SF 101 or Shape Flex 101, and that's a Pellin product. If you're into bag making, you know this fabric, you know this stabilizer, because it is woven. It goes on really easily. You're going to use an iron. It's heat fusible, and just hit it with a hot iron. And you're going to move it around, make sure that you kind of get everywhere. But this goes on really fast. It's really fast. It's not that difficult. And I just went ahead and done it because no one wants to see his iron.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like that it's not too stiff.
yeah, and you know, you got that really great drape, and then when you get the bag fully assembled, then that little bit of extra stabilizer is really going to create kind of bones throughout.
Yeah. It still gives it like form.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it's squishy.
yeah, it's really good like
So we're going to cut this down. This is where we're going to start. Now, I also had an extra scrap of fabric that I'm going to use for one of the top borders here, just to throw a little something in. You know, this is, like I said, this is going to be for my nephew and nieces. This is for their little boy, Miles. It's his first year doing trick-or-treating, and he's going as Peter Pan, but he didn't want a Peter Pan bag. He wanted a skeleton bag. And so we got some really cute skeletons here. Now, is this the glow-in-the-dark?
Yes, yes. We have a lot of good Halloween fabric.
We do.
I'm a little biased towards Halloween. It's right around my birthday, so I've always really celebrated it. And so we have really good. I mean, not that I'm the best fabric picker. I am, but
She's good.
We have really good Halloween fabric.
I have no complaints about the stuff that Cody has brought into the store. Really cool stuff. And we have a bunch, and why I'm really pointing this out is A, these are really quick trick-or-treat bags.
Yeah.
You can do this in no time at all. And you need to stock up on Halloween fabrics for next year.
Yes,
Yeah.
and while you're stocking up, you can do it now because we have it for 25% off through the International Quilt Festival.
25%. Did you say 25?
25.
25% off. That's
Yes.
like a quarter almost, right?
That is a quarter.
So we've got this. These are glow in the dark
Yes.
here, I believe. So these are in the same line. Little glow in the dark. That's going to be lots of fun for Miles.
Yeah.
He's going to love that. So we're going to cut these, and it's going to be quite easy, but we'll show you that in a minute, and we'll be right back. Okay, so through the power of, or through the magic of, what is it? Cameras and stuff, you can see we have it all trimmed here. Now, this is, you have leftovers from this because this block here, once we get it sewed together, is going to be a 12-inch by 12-inch square. Okay. And all I did was take a 12-inch square and cut 3 inches off the top. So this is going to be one side of my bag, or inside or outside. And then I went ahead, and like I said before, I went ahead and had this scrap. And so this is going to be my other part of the bag. So that is one side of your bag.
This
And
is the other.
fantastic. So you're going to have the bag there. Now these are straps. The reason I went with 16 inches by 16 inches because the straps are best when they're 16 inches.
Okay.
And that's why I cut a 16-inch block. And I'm going to have leftovers, but I want that strip to be 16 inches because if it's not, when you're doing the little curve here and you're sewing it into the bag, it wants to open up and not be, plus, little hands are going to be holding these bags and stuff. So you've got, now generally what I will do, if you can hand me the small bag there.
Yeah.
So as far as your straps, so I usually will do the strap with that color. So like this one, on this one, I will have that strap be also the green like this with it. Because I'm added this one, I'm not going to add a strap. I'm just going to use that for the back side of that strap.
Okay.
So we've got 2 of this, 2 of this, 2 of this, 2 of this, 2 of each of the colors. Same with on this side. So where we're going to start is fairly easy. We're going to sew this to this and make this, once again, a completed. Now, once it's sewn, it's not going to be 12 inches anymore. I mean, because we started with 12 inches, and then we're going to sew. Which brings up, what does that bring us?
Seam allowance.
Yeah, seam allowance.
Oh, I got it.
We should have like a little game show. What is seam allowance,
What
Alex?
is seam allowance? Go watch our last video.
Yeah. Yes, so seam allowance, seam allowance. So the whole thing, 1/2 inch seam allowances everywhere. The thing that makes this bag, more than just flat and one-dimensional, is this is 3-dimensional, right? This is 2-dimensional? I don't know. You're the numbers person.
I haven't. What?
Yeah. Did you not do physics? Anyway, what makes this bag a boxy bag is we're going to box the corners. and I'm just going to skip over all that science. So we're just going to.
It's just boxy. We don't know what dimension it is.
We have no idea what the
Three-dimensional.
It's three-dimensional. So we're going to cut 2-inch squares out of the bottoms, because that way that'll give us a chance to box them and kind of make that give your bag some depth. So it's going to be 2-inch squares here, here, and then we'll come back to that. So for now, we're just going to go here, here, and then cut the corners.
Okay.
We'll see you in a few.
So what did we do?
So we sewed the strips onto the base piece, and then we turned the seam and stitched a top stitch with the seam allowance pressed up.
Ah.
So we've got that here. Now we did 2 different types of seam allowances here because we say this all the time. When we're shooting, we are open for business.
Yes.
Like, people come and go. And so somebody, if you have not seen the Janome M8, which is fantastic.
Yes,
but
it is.
Somebody
Took advantage of one of the features.
They did, and they saved a seam or saved a stitch that's a little different. And so you can see here and here, this is what Sean did, and then this is what I stepped over and did for Cody and messed it up. So
yes,
so
that's okay.
But yes, so we sewed these on, turned seam up, did a top stitch down. Now here, we also boxed the corners. So it's these 2 seams, it's that seam there, is what gives the dimension. So everything up until this point is going to be flat, and then when we box the corners, this is where we do it. And this is bag construction at its very basic, because to get a bag, box the corners. You're going to get dimension. Now, what are we doing here?
That was, so, yeah, I wasn't here. What are we doing, Sean?
Well, so this is what I did for the straps. So 2-inch straps, I drew a line down the center, and then I folded into the center to make it a 1-inch strap.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is something that I learned later. So we've got this, and Alex and I had to look this up. Do you know what this ribbon is called?
No idea.
Grosgrain ribbon.
Why?
Because the French are weird. It's a French word, and it's grosgrain is something that means reinforced or sturdy, and because this has ribs in it like that, it's a little sturdier ribbon, and it is a good ribbon. What we're going to do is we're going to take, and we're going to do 1 strip in one fabric, 1 strip in the other, because that way you have straps that have double-sided.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is I went ahead and pressed that seam allowance, and we're going to go in and we're going to stitch these 2 like that. And then when it's done, we are going to take the grosgrain ribbon, put it in, and then sew it all together. This, if you've ever tried to sew a strap or a handle with quilting cotton, it's very common for the machine to make it twist a little bit. So when you sew long strips, that those feed dogs, that's what it's called, feed dogs, sometimes the way it goes through will cause that fabric to kind of bow this way a little bit. So when you finish, your strap is wanting to curl. So this helps that from happening. Plus, it gives you some stiffness in the handles without it just, the other thing, if you've ever tried to do a strap with quilting cotton, once you're holding that strap in your sweaty hands.
Ew.
Well, I mean, it just, I'm not like wiping my forehead with it, but yeah, it gets really creased, and you don't want that. So this has a certain amount of stiffness to it, but it's soft.
Yeah.
Especially for little hands, they're going to want to grip this because they're tiny hands.
Yeah.
And so we're doing that in 1 of each. So what we're doing next is we're going to do our straps, which is like I described, and then that's going to fold over. This actually, once you sew this seam, the rest of it just falls together. It's really super easy. And we're going to insert that, and then we're going to top stitch it on both sides to finish our straps. And then in the bag, our next step is to sew these together. So we're going to put right sides together, like so, and we're gonna match. Go ahead and
That's an important step.
This is an important step.
Right sides together.
Right sides together. Hey.
Ask me how I know.
Oh, yeah, have you?
Oh, for sure.
And all of us have. All of us have. The key here is you want to line up your 2 seams right there. That is the key. So if you line those up and these are a little off on either end, don't worry about it.
Okay.
That's the only thing that people are going to see is off. So you're going to put a clip here and a clip here, and then we're going to use a 1/2 inch.
Okay.
Oh wait, before we do the sides, we're doing here. We're going to sew the bottom together. So we're going to do 1/2 inch, and then once that's sewn, we're going to open that and press it so that it's open on both sides, and then we're going to run a top stitch on each side to keep those flaps down.
Okay.
And we're going to do that about 1/8 of an inch from where our seam line is.
Okay.
And then we'll do the sides. But for now, it's these guys and the bottoms.
Alrighty.
All right.
Let's do it.
Bottoms up. Bad joke. All right, so we have done quite a bit since the last time we saw you, or you saw us.
Yeah.
So that sounds a little creepy. But it is Halloween, and so creepy, although that's more creepy stalker creepy. We want cute creepy. Anyway, moving on. You're not saying anything.
Jason.
See, this is what
You're so creepy.
this is what happens when you don't talk. Sean feels
he just
fills the void.
rambles and-
Yeah, I gotta fill the space. So what we've done is we have put both of those pieces together. We have top stitched 1/8 of an inch out from the seam, so it looks really nice. We have done the straps. Go ahead and reveal your straps. Boom. Da. See, you thought you didn't realize they were
There.
camouflage. That's like a great evolutionary trait to like kill an enemy. You like camouflage
your
that?
bag.
Yes, camouflage your bag. That's some very camouflage. How did you survive the ice age? I had a camouflage bag made out of quilting cotton. Yeah, so these are really cool. Anyway, so we've got this. Now, you can see that we've cut out this, and we talked about that's how we're going to be boxing the bags. What we're going to do next is attach the straps, and we will attach these on either end on one piece, and then sew up the sides. Once we sew up the sides, then we're going to be ready to box these corners, and we'll show that when we get there. But I wanted to give you an idea of the process this far. I mean, so Cody's is going to be just offset the colors exchanged. So you've got the pattern here and the pattern here. Mine is a little different because I had this extra fabric, so mine it just has the eyeballs and the skeletons, and we got a little stripe action going in here. I'm really curious to see these glow, because now is it glow with a black light or just glow in general?
Glow in the dark, yeah.
Okay.
Glow in general.
So I know what I'm going to be doing with the lights turned off in the bathroom tonight. That sounds, yeah, we're going to cut that part.
That's not okay.
I mean, that's the only way we could see them glow in the dark, is we had to go into the bathroom.
We had to go
here.
into the bathroom, yeah. So so that you didn't have anything, but still. I
It
don't
was
know.
probably a sight for customers when we were all running in the bathroom. Come here, you have to see this.
Bolts of fabric. I think it was the string or the thread.
Oh, we did
Yeah.
it with that too. Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
had some embroidery thread that was also glow in the dark. But all right, so like I said, we're going to attach our straps. Then we're going to sew up the sides. What we will do going forward is, so when we are not going to turn this bag, we're not leaving a slot open to then pull it through and seal it shut, because I wanted all these seams to lie flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this down at a 1/2 inch. We're going to do it on both sides. We'll open that up when we come up the sides and then roll it back down. So when we go to assemble the inside to the outside, what we'll do is we'll just slip one inside the other, line up the top edges, and then top stitch all the way around.
Okay.
So there is no turning. Once we get it all, we get a bag and bag, we're just going to sew around the top to keep them together.
That's
all right?
great.
So we will be back we'll be back for the boxing. But that is also going to have some strap action going as well. So we will see you later. Well, soon. Goodbye.
Okay, so when we're doing the box corner here, like I said earlier, this boxing of a bag like this is the most basic way to get some depth out of your bag. So you're going to, what we've done is we've notched this here. Now we notched it before we had sewn any of our seams into it, because you want the distance from the seam line to the corner of the cut and the seam line to the corner of the cut to be the same distance, because you want them to meet up in the center with no additional fabric sticking out on either side. Now, in order to do this, I will notch this fabric before I sew either of my seams. So if I have a side seam here already and I need to notch this, then I need to come inside this seam and do my measurement here. So in order not to have to make that allowance, what I'm doing is before I sew any of these seams, I notch my corner and then do my seams, and that way everything stays the same. Now to get it ready to sew, we are just going to take this and we're going to pull it together like this. And you really want to make sure you open up your seam here and lay it out flat. Now I've already stitched this seam flat because it shows on the bottom of the bag. So here what I'm going to do is just go ahead and take this seam and I'm just going to finger press that open. Right now the iron that I have here in the shop has a really big point on it, so I was able to slide this over and press this down before I rolled that seam, but this one it won't go that far, so I'm just going to finger press this open. It's very, very easy to do, so finger press it open and make sure that seam, the bottom seam and the side seams, they meet, and that looks good right about there. And I will go ahead and take that right there, and now I'm going to pull this out. This right here, this particular pin or this particular Wonder Clip is going to hold that in place. I don't have a lot of bulk around here, so it's going to go fairly easily together. Now when I hit it here and I pull up these sides, now you've got right angles here and you're pulling out the corner, so this is going to give you a very defined 45-degree angle. Now I will a lot of the times go ahead and put my clips out here as well, because when I'm trying to get this to lay flat, then I really don't want this kind of pushing in and causing this to pucker. So on the other side I'll do the same thing. I'll pin these both at the same time, and that way when I get over to the machine it's very, very easy to do, to go right into the stitching. So again, I'm going to make sure those seams meet, and I'm going to put a clip right there. I have made this comment many times in these videos. The Wonder Clips, the name brand Wonder Clips, are better. They are sturdier, they break less often. Anytime you've used a Wonder Clip and you know how you push this down and that little spring breaks and the plastic breaks and part of it goes shooting off across the room, only to be found once you've stepped on it with a bare foot. That happens a lot less with the name brand Wonder Clips. They're just sturdier. So right there, we're going to sew right along here and here. After that point, this is the inside, or this is one of them. There's nothing else that has to be done on this. If I'm going to be doing a heavier bag that's going to be supporting heavier things, I will stitch across here, and then I will stitch across here again just on the inside, or I guess the outside of that seam, so that when you have stress points coming here and they're opening up that bag, you don't want them to stretch and start to see that stitching between them, and then also see like daylight on the other side. This is a really great place to do a reinforced stitch, but this is a trick-or-treat bag for a very young little goblin, and I don't think he's going to be handling that much candy. We've got this pinned or I guess clipped, Wonder Clipped, and ready to go. Again, I did clips on here and here on those 45 angle. Whenever you're sewing this, now this is just quilting cotton with some SF101, so it's going to lay pretty flat. However, if you've got some heavy layers, say you've got a vinyl that's on the outside of a bag, or a waxed canvas or a waterproof canvas on the inside of the bag, a lot of times these are not going to lay right where you'd like to have them. They're going to kind of bunch up, particularly here, and that's why I go ahead and put the clips here. This is a very simple seam, very, very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and let's get my thread ready to go. I'm a little neurotic. I like to have it in between my feet. And so now I'm going to line this up. I want to make sure that this is, looks like it's going to be fine there. They should really kind of meet right about there, but if you've got a little overhang like right here, don't worry about it. It's going to be all inside your seam allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that there. Again, because it's a candy trick-or-treat bag, I'm not really worried about how much stress this seam is going to get. So I'll only do it once, because I'm going to have, the inside bag and the outside bag, it's going to be lined. So both of those are going to be holding that seam, holding the candy into it. So let's go ahead and start. All right, and I think I had some really large stitches here. I was doing a demo on this machine in between, and I think we took it all the way up to 5, but now let's get it back down to 3, and we should be good to go. I'm going to hold those seams in place with my my stiletto. Once it gets there, I'm good, and I just want to pull that out. And here we go. And that's it. That's really all we have to do for these type of seams. So pull them out, and we're going to cut that there. Just very simple. If I were doing this in a bag that is going to be pulling against these seams a lot more, I would do another line of another seam just inside that stitch line right there. And that way, as this opens up, if it has any stress on it, you're just going to see more bag in there, not threads that are popping out. So I'm going to do the other side, and we're just about ready to finish up the bag around top. When you're working with a machine that doesn't have a free arm, and what I mean by free arm is on most machines, especially if they're a standard domestic kind of sewing machine, you're going to have a piece here that's going to be cut out. You will pull out, I'll do a little motion here, you'll pull out usually there's an accessory tray that kind of fits around there. It has some storage and some presser feet in there. Usually that's how that runs. Now on here on a straight stitch machine, and this is the same with the M8 that Cody's been sewing on, you've got this wide deck. There is nothing that comes out here. There is no free arm on these. And because of that, you have to sew with the bulk of your project up. Now with a free arm, the bulk of your project would be down. So basically you would have this right here would be on the top, and then all this other fabric is underneath that free arm. And that's why you have that. Here, we're not doing that because we don't have anything to go under. So how we're going to work this is we're going to bring our presser foot right in here, and we're going to line this up and start stitching. Now we're going to only do small bursts of stitches at a time, because you are constantly needing to rotate this and roll this around and make sure everything's lined up properly. But if you take your time, and this is a small bag, if you take your time, it's only going to take you a couple minutes. So you just want to stitch, line stuff up, stitch, line stuff up, just kind of keep repositioning it. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm not going to start right here in the middle where those straps are, because I don't really want to have my where I'm back stitching to set my stitch. I don't really want that necessarily right there in the middle. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop this presser foot. Now on the straight stitch machine, or on this HT9 here, this is considered the 1/4 inch foot. So where the needle is here and right along this side should be about 1/4 inch. Now it's a little, it's a little give or take. As I said before, I will do this 1/4 inch from the edge, and that's going to hold everything together. That's going to catch the straps under the lining, and it's going to secure everything. And I will come back here and I will come back in here and support, or put in some additional support on these straps inside the bag with some rivets that will distribute that the carrying weight on those. But again, it's a candy bag. It's for trick-or-treating. It's not going to be carrying concrete or a bowling ball or anything like that. Just as it is. So again, I want that needle to stop down every time I stop the machine. So I'm going to start with that needle down. All right. And right here, I'm going to pull this out. And right here, this is where that seam is. Usually when I'm coming up to a seam like this, I will take my stiletto and I will put it right between those two pieces of fabric, and that'll keep it nice and lined up as that fabric begins to move. So I'm going to just take a couple stitches, go back a couple stitches, and now right here, I'm going to go ahead and do a little rearranging before I come across that seam, because as I come over that seam, it's kind of like driving downhill. You're going to pick up some speed, and I don't want to do that and have something not on the other side lined up. So we're just going to go here. Okay, so now you'll see that I'm going to pull this around and flatten this out, so I have the next couple inches that are going under that needle, and just go ahead and bring that around. I can start to come around and take off some of those clips. Now when I get right up to a strap, normally what I'll do is, again, I'm going to stop, I'm going to reposition my fabric. But when you've got a strap that's only connected right here, oops, you can't even see that because of the strap. When you've got a strap that has only been connected right around here, about 1/4 inch off, that's not anchored down here at all. So you are able to, I'm going to go ahead and take this other clip off to show you this. So that strap is kind of going to, oops, got a little wobble there. That strap is going to be able to move around, and I don't want it to move down there. So I'm going to just make sure I go ahead and reposition that so I know that that strap is going straight in like it's supposed to. And then I'm going to keep going. It's a good place to reposition again. So again, we're going to pull this around and flatten that out. Make sure that the tops of my two pieces are together like they're supposed to be. This inside piece needs to come down a little bit. I'm going to reach across here so I can pull that back. And let's see. There we go. Even those up a little bit more. All right, and again, we're gonna just reposition this. And now I'm back to that, the other side of the strap on this side. I'm gonna reposition, roll this around, and this is where I'm going to take that off and make sure that this is flattened and moved over. And so this is the seam that probably takes the most effort in this whole bag, and that's because you've got a lot of pieces being maneuvered and realigned and making sure the fabric is laying where it's supposed to. Now let me move this around, and again I'm going to make sure that this strap is nice and straight. Again, it's not the end of the world if it's not, but if you're doing something, you know, do it right. I just heard my father's voice say that. Actually, not my father's, my mother's. My mother's would have been the one to say that. So I'm going to roll this around. Now the next thing that I know I'm coming up against is going to be that seam on the sides of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead, if I can get this all laid out and stretched out right where it should be ahead of time, I can just sail over that top. And the HT9 has no problem going up and over this side seam. You know, usually that side seam, if you're doing bags of any kind, that's going to be your most difficult seam height to get around. But you see that they just ran right over it. Of course, you can't see because that strap is right in the way, which ironically, it's a strap made of eyeballs. You know, here we go. I'm going to take that off again. All right, and we're going to make sure our strap is straight there, and then we're going to come back up and over. Ooh, we got a whole, 3 inches done with that one. So it's when you're working with a bag like this, or you're working with a straight stitch machine like this, and you're doing this type of, this inner stitch here, it is going slow. That's just how it is. So if you ever think that there's a project where you're able to sew, you know, at 800 stitches per minute through the whole thing, then you are either doing one very long straight piece of strap, or you are you're drinking. So again, we're going to roll this over and forward. Take off my clip there. That that strap really kind of sits in there nicely, so, and everything's lined up. Now you'll find that as you go around the bag, the further around the bag you go, the more everything lines up and feels right. That's because everything's in place. So you don't have all this fabric up here shifting while you're trying to shift this fabric down here. So it's that slow going gets easier and easier the more you get involved. So we are almost at the end, and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and trim my threads right there, just because I don't really want to run over those with my new stitch and then have to dig it out, because see right here, that's what happens. So I'm just going to pop that out. If you ever have a piece of thread hanging over. That usually ends up looking a little knotted as you come around. Because of that, you can usually just kind of pull those out from between the seams. So, and here we go, and we're going to meet it right here and give us a good couple back stitches, and right there, and we're pretty well done at this point.
You just look happy.
I love sewing.
Of course you do. Look, I'm like a little dolly here. I can roll around like. Very nice.
So here are the bags, and they are
So good.
so cute.
Oh my gosh.
So cute. And this one, obviously can handle the candy load, but this fabric is part of a line that glows in the dark.
Yes. Show them the inside. Those
yeah.
eyeballs are so cool in the dark. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all saw it earlier, but
And all these bags are reversible.
yeah.
So, which is great. See, hers handles candy well too.
Oh, yeah.
See, you've got this great little eyeball skeleton thing going on here, and they really do go in the dark.
They
so,
do.
yeah, like it was a couple nights ago, and I'm in my kitchen, and it's very late, and I think I was probably getting up to get a drink, but I walked in, and this fabric was lying face up, and there was another piece of fabric underneath or on top of it. And I walked around, I thought, what is this weird thing? And I pulled off that top one, and like all these eyeballs lit up. And it was really kind of creepy and wonderful all at the same time. Now this is going to my my niece's child, Miles. I don't know, is that a grandnephew?
Yes.
Grandnephew, okay. So this is going to my grandnephew, Miles, who is really into dinosaurs, and dinosaurs have bones, and there are skeleton bones are in the skeleton.
I love the way that kids make connections.
I'm not exactly how we got there, but this is his, and it's. I think it is the right size for what a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And
This is mine, but it could be one of yours.
there we go. And how can they get this bag?
On Saturday, if you stop by our Genome booth at the Quilt Festival and mention that you saw this video,
And
maybe bring me a coffee. I'll be really tired by then.
yeah, so bring her some coffee. Tell her that you saw this on the video. She's going to give this to you, so you got to get there Saturday morning. You got to get there Saturday morning at the Quilt Show. So, but yeah, we had a really great time doing this. Now, we were doing this completely because of we have all this fabric. We have all this fabric that is so cool. And yes, we're getting closer to Halloween right now, but treat this fabric like you treat the Christmas fabric.
Yeah.
Buy it now because we're going to have it on sale for
25% off.
25% off. Really great, really great. And all of this is online, right?
Yeah, all of our Halloween stuff is online, so you'll be able to find it anywhere in the store or online.
Yeah, and do we need to do a promo code when they order?
Oh, yes, we do. We'll pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, we'll do H2024. That's what the promo code will be.
Okay.
H2024. Do that, 25% off the Halloween fabrics. Stock up. We have a lot of really great things. If you've got a moody goth teenager,
we got something for you.
We do. We have like black cats. I mean, you can make that. That's good. You're all year round.
Yeah.
I mean, because goth. I mean, were you? You were not a goth.
No. No.
I cannot imagine.
I could try. Maybe that's what I'll be for Halloween.
Oh my God.
Come see me on Saturday.
Should be goth. Anyway, they turned out great. Now the pattern is going to be on the website. It is basically everything that you're cutting out here are just rectangles.
Made by our very own.
Oh,
Pattern made by him.
there we go. I did this. I am no by Annie, but I guarantee this will hold the candy that you need to hold. Oh, and it will hold that because, now we mentioned this in the video, so on all of these, instead of doing that square crisscross piece here to kind of reinforce it, I used rivets. And these are all gunmetal gray rivets. It's super easy. These are going to hold anything. And after Halloween is done, if you go with the big one, you've got a really great tote.
Tote, yeah, that's
really great
such a
tote.
good tote size. I have such an issue with either buying something too small that doesn't fit my necessities, or just going overboard, and then I have crap all in my. That's a really good size.
This is like the anti-crap size.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
not too
can't
much.
fit too much crap.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Download the pattern. Buy, store that Halloween for next year because it's brilliant. And I'm Sean.
I'm Cody.
And whenever you're at the sewing table, remember there is room for everyone. Thanks.
Bye, guys.